Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm excited to get started. We're going to give another minute or two for a couple of other people to join. But in the meantime, why don't you guys write to me in the chat where you're from? Okay, we'll go ahead and give it another minute or two. I see right now we have 11 people, so I'd like to say hi. If you guys want to say hi back, go ahead and write to me in the chat and let me know where you're from. Okay, great. I think we got enough people to get started. So, hello everyone. My name is Dave. I'll be your host today. Hi, Josh. Nice to see you. My name is Dave. I'll be your host today for today's webinar, From Beginner to Pro, Navigating Your Investing Pro Subscription. So on today's agenda, we'll be going through some free tools worth knowing. And directly after that, we'll be walking you through the Investing Pro features, namely ProPicks AI, Warren AI, Fair Value, Health Score, ProTips, and ideas. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Great. So before I get started with the webinar, I wanted to give a little bit of an overview of what Investing.com is. Investing.com is a financial news analysis and data aggregation website. We cover almost every single exchange that is available on the globe. And if you'd like to view Investing.com in your local language, or if you'd like to view your local exchange, all you need to do is just hover over the flag icon in the top right corner of the screen, and then select whichever country or region that you'd like. So today's webinar is going to be focused more around where to find things on the website and how to use them, and less focused on technical trading and things of that nature. So having said that, why don't we go ahead and get started? So usually when I first wake up in the morning, I'd like to come to Investing.com, and I like to come and check out the homepage. At the top, I like to view the latest news and analysis articles that are available here at the top. Directly below that are a quick overview of markets or stocks or commodities. You can then choose to select between most active, top gainers, 52-week high or low, so on and so forth. Below that, we have an Investing Pro subscription feature, which is based on our fair value calculations. We're going to get more into detail into what exactly fair value is, but I did want to highlight this for you right now directly on the homepage. You can either filter for most overvalued or most undervalued in order to create idea generation. Directly below that, we have the economic and earnings calendars. We're going to dive into those a little bit more in detail as well. And then if you're a Pro subscriber, you have a quick jumping point for ProPicks, and then of course popular screens for our screener. All of this we're going to dig into more detail as we continue, but before we do, I did want to highlight for you guys this element over here on the right side of the screen, which is called the workstation. It's also just another really good place to quickly jump to and from different areas of the site without having to dig through either the nav bar at the top here or try to search for it in the search bar. So for example, you can quickly jump to Warren AI, which is Investing.com's ChatGPT. Again, we're going to dig into all of that and what it's comprised of and how it works. You can also quickly jump to the ProPicks AI strategies. You can quickly jump to your watch list. Any alerts that you might have set. Again, I'm going to show you guys how to set alerts either for instrument prices or calendar alerts, so on and so forth. Breaking news, and of course, other tools like the Fed rate monitor and the Treasury yield curve in case that's important for you. So again, this is the workstation. It follows you around the site. It's just super handy to know about and to have. So the first thing that I want to dig into in earnest is the economic calendar. So you can find that here at the top. And essentially, The calendars that we have are either in relation to economic events, or as you can see, holidays. Right now, we're also in earnings season, or dividend releases, splits, IPOs, so on and so forth. So this particular week, there's a lot of inflation-related announcements that are happening. So, for example, yesterday we had the CPI inflation. We had the CP inflation report that came out. Here was the forecast, which was 3%, and the actual inflation percentage actually was slightly above that. And you can also see previously what it was. We can see what's on the agenda for tomorrow, which is the core PPI. And then, of course, I can go ahead and take a look at what's going to be happening in the rest of the week. And here I can see, actually, let me just zoom in just a little bit more for you guys. Here we have another interesting thing, which is the MI one-year inflation expectation, the consumer expectations. We also have the July retail sales data that's coming out on Friday as well. So the economic calendar is really just a great place to be appraised of important, in this case, inflationary events, but also for holidays and earnings calls that might be happening. So I can choose to look at what I normally do is I come in at the beginning of the week and I take a look at what's on the agenda for this week. And then halfway through the week, usually Wednesday or Thursday, I'll then also come in and check and see what's on the agenda for the rest of the week, just to make sure that I haven't missed anything. Let me just go back and show you how to filter. So if you go ahead and you click on the filters in the top right corner of the screen, you can then dial this into any particular region or country. You can choose how you want when the announcement is going to come out to be displayed based on the time remaining to the announcement, or when it's supposed to actually happen according to your own time zone. You can select by category like credit or central banks, and also the importance level. If you're a person that wants to lower their noise to signal ratio, then all you need to do is just select the 3 stars, click apply, and then only the most important announcements and events will be surfaced for you. Another handy tool over here, and this goes back to how you want the announcement time to actually be curated for you, is based on selecting your particular time zone. I'm currently based in Tel Aviv, so I'm gonna select GMT +3, and then if I wanted to go and change this to the actual hour that this announcement is going to be released, then I would just set it to display time only, and then it will go ahead and dial that in for me. So let's quickly take a look at earnings. It follows a similar pattern. So for today, I can see that Cisco is making an announcement. If I wanted to check up and see what's on the ledger for tomorrow or later this week or any particular time range, I can go ahead and I can do that. So let's say, for example, that the Cisco announcement was something that's important for me and I wanted to be reminded of it. Or here, let's take a look at something else. Let's say Cardinal Health was something that was interesting. No, that happened yesterday. I apologize. So let's just use Cisco as an example. Let's say that this particular company's earnings announcements are important for me, and I want to create an alert not to forget about it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the bell icon in the right corner of the screen here. I can either select for all future releases or just for this particular one. Send me a reminder 1 trading day ahead of time, and then I'll go ahead and I'll click on create. I see that there is the success pop-up that happened over here. And if I wanted to go and take a look at any alert that I had set, the way that I can find that is by hovering over my profile icon on the top right corner over here and then clicking on Alert Center. So here we can see the Cisco alert. The earnings alert that I just set for Cisco is happening right here. Here are previous alerts that I've set, specifically for Enphase or Verizon. If I set any instrument alerts, then they would show up here as well. And of course, any economic event or any authors that I'm following, basically all of that alert related information is collated directly to here. If we're already on the subject of alerts, I want to show you guys how to set alerts based on instruments. So why don't we go ahead and use Cirrus Logic as an example. Just as a disclaimer, I have not made any positions in the last 72 hours about Cirrus Logic. I'm completely neutral about them. This is surely just for informational purposes. So having said that, if I wanted to set an alert for an instrument, the way that I can do that is by clicking on the bell icon in the top right corner over here. I can then choose to set a price alert, meaning that it moves above or below a specific set amount. If there is a percentage loss or gain, or any way up or down, or I can choose any specific one, have it recurring and only set it once based on the trading volume, or I can also set an earnings alert directly through the instrument page as well. So lots of flexibility when it comes to setting alerts. For me, this is critical in lowering my noise to signal ratio and keeping aware of things that are happening to the stocks in my portfolio. Excellent. So now that we're on an instrument page, I do want to quickly show you guys where to find a couple of things. So if you're a Pro subscriber, directly next to the chart over here, you're going to have the company health. You're going to have the fair value estimate. You'll have the technical analysis as well, analyst sentiment with the price targets and any upside that the consensus of analysts are seeing. You can also see here what all Investing.com members think about this particular stock, and you can go ahead and you can vote on it as well. And then, of course, we have ProTips. ProTips essentially are our system's way of flagging important information for you, also in an effort to help you speed up due diligence, but also in an effort to help raise things that are important about this particular company. We're going to dial in a little bit more and drill down into exactly what ProTips are and how you can use them once we get to the Pro dashboard, but that's coming up in just a bit. So directly below that, you have key statistics. You can go ahead and if you are a subscriber, you can edit the statistics that you want to see directly over here. You can either you can delete or you can add any particular metrics that you want. So go ahead and feel free to dial that in according to your needs. You can either search through the ready-made lists over here, or you can search through something here at the top. So, and then it'll just populate that list for you based on the input in the search bar. Excellent. So lots of really good information on the overview page. It curates all the news and analysis related to Cirrus Logic. It shows you all the technical analysis based on all of the different time frames. It also gives you a summary, which is great. We also include the SWOT analysis, the for and against arguments as to why you should own this stock. Quick summaries on the earnings call, quick comparisons about in relation to their peers and their sector. Here are also a quick look at the analyst ratings. We see a total of 7, 5 are buy, 2 are hold, and none are sell. It's usually a pretty good indicator. And of course, the latest earnings releases with the forecast and the actual EPS. So down here at the bottom is something that I find particularly useful, which is people also watch. So essentially what this is that we're combing through all of the Investing.com members' information, and we're seeing members that have Cirrus Logic in their portfolio also tend to watch these particular stocks. The reason I find this interesting is because it's a really good way to surface ideas and just see which stocks are related to what, and see just in general what the Investing.com community is following in relation to this particular stock that's interesting to me. Just a really good way to surface investing ideas. Excellent. So this portion here at the top, all of this is clickable, and if I wanted to click through to technical analysis just to get a little bit more information, I can then take a look at a number of different technical indicators and different oscillators, take a look at the moving averages and the pivot points. Just a ton of really good data for people that are actively trading, and of course the candlestick patterns as well. It gives you a deep dive and it gives you a deep dive onto all of these different types of patterns. And of course, if I wanted to get a description as to what this particular pattern is, then all I need to do is just click on it, and it gives me the time frame, reliability, so on and so forth. So lots of really, really good data to click in through here. And of course, we have a deep dive on the analyst price targets. We have the highs, we have the lows, and the average. Of course, as we mentioned before, the total amount of analysts that are viewing this and what their sentiments are on this particular stock. So here's the firm. And again, I don't want to drill down too much into this right now, but I did want to show you where everything is in case this information is important for your investing. So now that we've quickly covered the instrument pages, and just by the way, all this information is still free, by the way. A lot of this information is available free to free Investing.com members. So there's a lot of value out of the box here without ever paying a penny. So that's really awesome. I want to quickly show you the stock screener for those of you who are not familiar with what a stock screener is. Basically, it's a really good way for you to surface investing ideas based off of your particular based off of any type of investing theme or metrics that are important for your particular style of investing. If you're an absolute novice and you're just looking to get started, one of the ways that you can do that is just by exploring our pre-built screens. You can find that here in the top right corner under My Screens and Explore Screens. And here we've broken it down by investing theme, value, growth, momentum, dividends, for example. The ones that have the shield with the P symbol means that you do need to be a paid member for this, but a lot of them are open freely to the public. So for example, let's say I wanted to find companies with a 3-month return above 33%, then I can go ahead and I can click apply. And then if I click on more filters on the right here, I can then add in any more metrics that I want, okay? And I can also see which particular metrics here have been added already and under which particular themes they've been added. So for example, I see that we've excluded nano caps on the growth tab. I see that we've included a sales growth of over 50% and efficiency of a gross profit margin of above 75%. So I can also add in any further metrics that I want to. But I do want to show you that with every single added metric that you put here, you are narrowing the universe of stocks that you initially started out with, right? So for example, if I go ahead and I reset everything, what I'm looking at right now are only stocks that are based in the US. And that universe of stocks is is close to 9,000 stocks, right? And so with each and every metric that I continue to add, my universe of stocks gets smaller and smaller. My curated stock ideas get more and more valuable, and that really essentially does all the work for me instead of having to comb through mounds and mounds of instrument pages and sheets. And then once I've dialed in all of my metrics, then I can view these particular metrics based on a couple of different windows or views, if you will. So for example, here on the overview, I can see, let me just scroll down a little bit more. Over here on the bottom, you can choose how many results you want to see at any one time. I'd put it to 10 just because it's a lot easier to consume. And then over here for customers that are not Apple product users, then there is a sliding bar over here. And you can see that there is a ton more data over here. And I can sort any of these columns as I choose. So for example, if I wanted to sort this list based off of the fair value upside, that might be a good way for me to find value stocks for the sake of argument. All right. And if I wanted to view this according to valuation metrics or returns or technical indications, I have the ability to do that. And of course, if you are an InvestingPro Pro Plus subscriber, if you're on a Pro Plus plan, then you can, of course, create your own custom view. Excellent. So that That essentially is the free features that are available. Again, some of the data here is paywalled, but out of the box and without paying a cent, you have access to a lot of very useful information related to related to finding new stock ideas. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and showcase the Investing Pro features. Sorry. Before I do, I did want to quickly show you something else that's pretty important. So in the top right over here, in the top left corner over here, you have analysis. This is broken down by different themes like market overview, currencies, commodities, bonds, cryptocurrencies, ETFs, so on and so forth. I highly recommend that you go ahead and you read the analysis that's available on our site. So why don't we go ahead and click through to the first item, an article over here. This is written by Stephen Inns. And let's say that I had read through this article and I found it interesting. And I want to be notified of any future articles that Stephen releases. All I would need to do is go ahead and click on the follow button. And then I am now following Stephen, and I would be notified when Stephen comes out with other articles. I can show you exactly where to find that. So as I showed you guys before, if I click through to the alert center, I now have Stephen and I'm following him, and I'm going to be alerted anytime a new article of Stephen's comes out. The way that you can know that a new article has come out is in your workstation under alerts. See, so all of your recent alerts, these are some of the authors that I'm following right now, and so I get alerted to when they release an article inside the workstation over here. So just FYI. Quickly going back to Stephen's article, let's say that the article title was interesting to me, but unfortunately I just don't have the time to read it, and I want to save it for later. I can click on the bookmark icon at the top of the page. And then if I wanted to go back to my saved items, I hover over my profile icon and then I click on saved items, and here's the article and all of my other saved articles that I can go ahead and read when I become available. So now that we've covered some of the free site functionality, why don't we go ahead and jump to the Pro dashboard. So you can jump to the Pro dashboard by clicking on Open Investing Pro in the top right corner of the screen over here. And so before we jump into what fair value is and what company health is, I wanted to showcase some of the value you get out of the box as soon as you become a subscriber, namely with inside your portfolio. So even if I'm a complete novice investor and I don't know what PE ratios are or EBITDA or so on and so forth, I know I can count from 1 to 5, and I know that green usually means good and red tends to mean bad. So what I can see here is with the stocks that are in my portfolio, I can see that according to our fair value calculator, I see that Cirrus Logic has an almost 30% upside based on Cirrus Logic's current book of business. So along with the upside percentage, we also give you the fair value label, so you can see that it's undervalued and it could potentially be an interesting idea. We also do the same thing for the analyst target. We see that according to the analyst's sentiment, there is a 17% upside, and it's more in the fair territory. And then of course we have the health label, which again we're going to get into more detail as to how that's comprised. That is great. So I can also sort all of these from high to low, low to high. And of course, there's a slew of information to the right that I can dig into, such as dividend yield, relative strength, so on and so forth. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this view because I want to show you guys how you can create your own views. So number one, these are the 4 default views that are available inside your portfolio, inside ProPicks, inside the screener. The views follow you around the site. So I'm going to show you how to create your own view and why it's important. So if I want to create a view, I can just go ahead and click on Add View. Let's say I'm dividend oriented and I want to curate and analyze my portfolio specifically based on dividend metrics. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call this particular view dividend lens. And now I'm going to go ahead and dial in the metrics that I want to put into this particular view. So why don't we go ahead and click on dividends. I can choose to search for any metric that I want, or I can go ahead and I can select it from the list. There's a lot of information to select from here, and some of this I surely don't know what these metrics are. So if I don't know, there's an information icon that you can hover over that will tell you exactly what any particular metric is. So for example, here's what a Chowder rule number is. It's a ratio that measures a company's combined growth rate and dividend yield. So let's go ahead and add in some metrics. As a dividend investor, I'd be interested in the dividend frequency. How often do they give this dividend? What is the growth streak like? Have they been consistent in paying this this particular dividend? What does the future dividend growth look like? Dividend coverage ratio, which is it measures the amount of cash the company has on hand to continue paying this dividend. So that's also something that's very important for dividend consistency. The cash amount of the last dividend, and I think that's enough to go on. So let's go ahead and click Save Changes. And let's jiggle the system a little bit. There we go. Okay, so all of the metrics that I've put into my dividend view are now easily available. And so not only is this available in my watch list, but as I mentioned before, it's also available in all of the ProPicks strategies. So if I go ahead and click on portfolio, I see that it's now been transported over to the Tech Titans portfolio, the Tech Titans strategy portfolio, as well as in the InvestingPro screener. And I can see it's been ported over here as well, and also into a couple of other places on the site. So definitely, I highly recommend creating your own views, and that way you can surface a lot more information that's important for your investing. So having said that, why don't we go ahead and take a look at an instrument page in the InvestingPro dashboard. Let's go ahead and use our example of Cirrus Logic. Great, so you'll notice that the instrument overview page is very different than what's available on the free Investing.com site, and for good reason. So here at the top, you have the price. If the market's open, it'll update in real time with whatever the price changes are, as well as the 52-week range. And directly to the right of that, you have something called fair value. So what is fair value? Fair value is our system's way of looking at the company's current book of business, and based on up to 17 different evaluation models, we then appraise the true worth of this stock based on these evaluation models in relation to what the market price currently is. So for example, Cirrus Logic right now is currently trading at $108.79. According to all of these, according to 13 investing models that each give their own projection, we roll all of these investing models up into one combined projection. And based on all of these investing models, our system has given an average price of what the true value of this company is in relation to what the current market price is. So if market price is $108, our system really values Cirrus Logic at $140, giving it an almost 30% potential upside. The uncertainty here is medium. There are a couple of different factors here. Could be news releases, so on and so forth, or particular market volatility in certain areas. So the level of uncertainty according to these valuations is medium, but that's completely normal. And here's the 52-week spread, the 52-week price spread. So what I really like about this is it's not a black box. And so let's say that I'm more of an advanced investor, and to me, let's say 10-year DCF EBITDA exit doesn't matter to me. So I can just remove that from the calculation, and you'll see that if I remove it, here, go ahead and look at the top here. If I remove it, it changes the output according to whatever metrics I've dialed in here, right? So let's say price to book multiples is not interesting for me, and the DCF EBITDA is not interesting, then it'll also take that into account. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how did they come up with these numbers, right? I want to see the math. So no problem. All you need to do is just click on the result over here for any one of these particular models, and it'll send you to the models page for this particular company. Here you have all of the math that goes into it. You can see what our benchmarks are. You can see what the valuation is. You can see the benchmark companies that we're using. You can see the output per benchmark company that we're using, the low, the mid, the high, equity waterfalls, financials. All of the math is here. So if you want to go ahead and dig into this and for further due diligence, I highly recommend that you do so. And it's our way of making our estimates more transparent for our members. Directly below that, we have financial health. Essentially what financial health is that we rank this particular company on over 100 factors against companies in that particular sector and in that particular industry. And we base it on 5 core elements, namely profitability, price momentum, cash flow, growth health, and relative value. And then we rank that and we score that on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being bad, 5 being good. And then we assign it a label. And in this particular case, Cirrus Logic, according to these 5 core pillars of financial health, has gotten a score of 4 out of 5. So just like with fair value, we like to get rid of the black box and we like to give you as much resolution into how we came up with these conclusions as possible. So let's say I wanted to understand why cash flow health was given a 4 rating. I can go ahead and click on cash flow health. I can see all of the metrics that comprise cash flow health. I can see what value it was assigned. I can see in a percentile fashion how it ranks or scores in comparison to its sector or peers. And then if I click on the history chart, I can see in this particular metric how it's performed over time, and normally according to as much data as we can possibly give. But in this particular case, it starts in September 2019. So again, lots of transparency here for you, the investor. To the right side over here, we have a couple of different time windows with all of the metrics: cash flow, growth, profitability, price momentum, and relative value, all rolled into one. You can also see on a scale exactly how things have performed according to all of these 5 key areas. And again, if you click through to it, it'll give you all of the information that is related to this particular metric. So what I like to tell friends and family that are new to investing, in order to give them a little bit more confidence in getting started, is that even if you don't know anything, come to an InvestingPro instrument page. Whether you got this stock idea from a friend, family, news, whatever the case may be, come and check it out. The first thing you do, go ahead and look at the fair value. Is there upside or downside? If it's green, it's enough movement to go on and continue exploring. Go ahead and check out the financial health. Is it green or red? Does it look good for further due diligence? If it does, awesome. Please continue. And then the third thing that I look at here that is also an InvestingPro feature is something called ProTips. I alluded to this earlier on the free instrument page. And essentially what ProTips are is that it surfaces important details about a stock for me, instead of me having to dig through balance sheets and cash flow and in order to come to the same conclusion myself. And so this really is a massive time saver for me, especially when I'm trying to initially vet a stock idea. As I mentioned before, I look at the fair value, looks pretty good. I look at the financial health, looks great. I'm going to come to the pro tips and see if the system is flagging anything for me off the bat, and it doesn't look like it is. So for example, if there was something, if something is in favor of the stock, it'll have a green bull. If it's neutral about it, in this case, doesn't pay a dividend to shareholders, it's not for or against the company. It's just something that a company doesn't do. But if there was something that wasn't good about the company, it would have a red bear, indicating that there is something about this company that you should know for you to dig in a little bit more. And again, in the spirit of transparency, which is something that we love here at Investing.com, let's say I wanted to understand why a perfect Petrosky score of 9 is something that is in favor of the company. I can go ahead and I can click through to it. I can get a breakdown as to what a Petrosky score is, what it means, and why it's important. So for example, I can see that in relation to its peers, Cirrus is doing far better on this particular metric. And that's why it's been assigned a bullish rating for this particular segment. Let's take a look at another one. 6 analysts have revised their earning upwards in the coming period. I know why that's a good thing, but in case you didn't know, normally when analysts revise their earnings upwards, it's usually a good indicator of increased confidence in the company's potential of profitability. Here are the historical trends. Here's some more related data. So again, ProTips, just a really excellent way to just quickly ascertain whether or not this stock idea that you have is something that is worth doing more due diligence on. And then directly below all this, we have the price history with all these different windows. So let's say, so for example, we can see that Cirrus Logic is down almost 21% over the past year. Over the past 5 years, it's up, excuse me, almost 80%. So there is a little bit of more recent volatility that's been going along with the stock. I have historical financials, balance sheets, peer benchmarks. I can see in relation to its sector, Cirrus is far and away a lot larger. I can see how they've been trading over a 52-week high. They seem to be trading higher than their peers on par with their sector. So, and then of course you have the news segment here, which surfaces for you any key news articles that are related to Cirrus Logic. And of course, if you hover over any one of these and you see the 3 dots, you can go ahead and you can move all of these widgets around and you can orient them according to what's important for your investing. Great. So now let's quickly move on to ideas, which is in the left side of the screen here. So the idea behind ideas is basically you have hedge funds and you have really prolific investors such as Warren Buffett. Clearly they know something about the market, so wouldn't you be interested in potentially copying what they do? So for example, let's say I want to take a look at what is in Warren Buffett's portfolio. I can, number one, see the dollar amount of all of their holdings. I can see what the quarter-over-quarter change has been. I can see what the distribution of companies inside their portfolio and the percentage that any particular stock takes in their portfolio. I can see the sector concentration, technology, consumer, oil and gas, and also the filings tracker for the 13F filings as well. And of course, here is the view that we created in our watch list that has also been transported over to Warren Buffett's portfolio holdings. So this is just a really good way to surface ideas and also for idea generation. I can, if I scroll down, I can search by investor type or sector focus, financials, healthcare, or I can also search through a list. Let's say I want to look for healthcare. So you'll have, here, let's take a look, Parkman Healthcare stock portfolio. This is how much money is inside that portfolio. Here's the sector concentration, and here are the largest holdings inside this particular portfolio. So again, just a really good place for idea generation. So let's quickly jump to ProPicks AI. So what is ProPicks AI? It combines real-time data, advanced analytics, and Investing.com's proprietary scoring to rank stocks by upside, valuation, growth, and risk. So why don't we go ahead and scroll down the list over here. We offer these AI strategies for 11 different countries at the moment. I have it on good authority from our product team that we're going to be expanding this significantly within the next couple of months, so stay tuned for that. But if you wanted to browse any of these AI strategies according to geography or according to a focus like value or profit, small cap, mid cap fund, so on and so forth, you can go ahead and you can do that. So why don't we go ahead and focus on the United States for the time being? And why don't we take a look at Tech Titans? So Tech Titans is essentially tech stocks, and that is the concentration of the portfolio. Here you have the total return, the outperformance of the S&P 500. Here's the risk profile. And again, if you hover over all of these, it'll give you a tooltip explaining exactly what it is. And here is this strategy's performance in a backtest over since 2013. So if I wanted to understand the movements that have been happening inside this strategy's portfolio over time, I can go ahead and I can do that by clicking on the right in the drop-down menu in the right corner of the screen in order to be able to view the strategy each and every month. So just so you know, the strategies are updated on the first of every single month, usually around I want to say usually around 10 a.m. Eastern time. We notify members of the upcoming portfolio rebalance. I think like 2 or 3 days before it's supposed to happen. We do this on site, and we also and once the strategies and portfolios have been rebalanced, we send an email on the same day that it happens, and we also notify you guys on site of the ProPicks AI rebalance. So just to recap, it happens once a month, usually on the first day, and we notify you on site and also via email and push notifications. And so let's say I'm new to ProPicks AI and I'm just reviewing the strategy. So the things that I want you to focus on here are the action column. It tells me that we added Viasat at the beginning of the month. This was the price when it was added. We see that it's currently live. And the rationale column over here explains exactly why we decided to add this particular stock. So for example, we see that it's a strong buy based on exceptional market performance. It has remarkable momentum with a 79% 3-month, 71% 6-month, and 93% year-to-date price returns. Revenue exceeded expectations. Incoming $568 million settlement from Legato Networks provides significant financial flexibility. So they got a court ruling in their favor, and so they have a lot more operating cash flow. So it seems that this is the reason why Viasat in particular was added. If I go farther down the list, I can see remove with a gain. What this indicates is that the system identified these particular stocks as having less upside than a potential incoming stock into the strategy, and this is why it was removed. It doesn't mean that this is necessarily a sell indicator. It just means that there was a better opportunity that our system had identified, and that's why it was removed from this particular strategy. So that's why you'll see removed with red with a green gain. And removed with a minus red tells you that unfortunately this particular stock pick didn't pan out as well as we had hoped. And it also tells you why. So it was rotated out to relative positioning compared to other opportunities. Market performance was moderated with a 7% 1-month loss. So again, I'm not going to go into all of these, but essentially the rationale gives you the exact reason as to why something was removed excuse me, from the strategy. Further down the page, this is something that I really like, which is called the Stock Spotlight. It shows you the new additions or the outperformers or the underperformers of any particular strategy. So we can see if I select new additions, we see that Viasat was added this month. I can see exactly when it was added. I can see the performance to date. Can also check and see that unfortunately Gartner, it was also added at the beginning of this month, and it looks like it fell off a cliff. Okay. They can't all be winners, unfortunately, but in aggregate, the strategy seems to be doing pretty well. So that's really, really great to see. The next thing is that if I wanted to take a look at all of the all of the entries into each strategy over time, and then view it according to different metrics. I can go ahead and I can do that by clicking on portfolio. I do want to mention that only the live portfolio, you have the ability to use the views that are also in your watch list and on your screener. So just be aware of that. So an example of how I might use this to find opportunities. So I would go ahead and I would see what's actually trading on the 52-week, in the percentage of the 52-week high. I can see Build.com. There's a 45% upside. Overall health label is good. It's undervalued also according to analyst targets. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we have on the overview page. I can see the 52-week range is pretty wide. I see that it's trading well below what the 52-week range is. I see the growth health is pretty good. The price momentum is a little stagnant. Let's take a look at ProTips. Stock has taken a big hit over the last week. Again, that's a flag on the play. I definitely am happy that I have ProTips in order to surface that for me. And it gives me all the relevant information. Excuse me, just my throat's a little dry. Stock has taken a big hit over the last 6 months. Cool, let's check out the price chart. Yep, it looks like they fell pretty hard and they're continuing to fall. So it looks like we're waiting for a rebound here. So again, it looks like our system has identified this as a stock that is worth adding to our strategy. So that's definitely something that I would let you guys explore on your own time. So with the little time that we have left, I do want to focus on Warren AI. So what is Warren AI, and how is it different than all of these other large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, so on and so forth? So essentially, when you are trying to create a large language model that is focused on investing, it's important to understand the data that you have access to, and also how the system is going to recognize the prompts or what you're asking it. So for example, ChatGPT, Copilot, all have different purposes and uses, right? Some are general purpose, some are specifically focused, like Perplexity is focused on research, and Claude is good for data analysis and other applications. But they're all either broad or too focused and not focused on financial related questions. The other part of that is the recency of data. So if I would ask Warren AI the same question as I would ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT would search the entire internet. It would pull articles that in some cases might not be relevant anymore. Let's say it's even from 3 or 6 months ago, and it will base its answer off of what it's found on the internet. So our Warren AI is using the same data that millions of Investing.com members use and rely on every single day. So the data fidelity is, number one, a lot more focused and verified and vetted. Number two, it's also the model that we've created is meant to recognize questions that are related to investing. So for example, let's say I wanted to get watch list insights. So I can go ahead and I can click on it. And let's say I wanted to do risk reward analysis. So these are pre-built prompts. You can, of course, ask it any question that you want. So here I asked it to do a risk reward analysis of the stocks in my watch list. So I have a couple of different watch lists. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select my watch list. And now it's going to go ahead and give me a readout, for and against arguments, and do an entire drill down onto this particular portfolio. All right, so at the top, it'll give you a summary overview. It then creates charts on the fly. It'll give you volatility versus return, where the sweet spots lie. it just knows out of the box to answer most questions that an investor might have when asking questions about their portfolio. Analyst upside, PE ratios, beta, insights. And then what I really like is that it asks you follow-up questions. Do you want a deep dive on analyst target consensus for any of these stocks, or screener, similar low beta tech names? So it's really, really awesome, and it's curated specifically to answer financial questions. And so let's say I wanted to ask it about earnings and fundamentals. Let's do a quarterly performance review of Cirrus Logic. Cool, so it'll comb through all of the earnings calls and everything and surface everything for you. It's an amazing time saver, especially when you're doing the first round of due diligence on any stock idea that you had. You can also ask it a little bit more abstract questions. So for example, I heard a little while ago that Trump wanted to lower the interest rate down to 1%. Not that I think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I was just generally curious about what the impact would have on the stock market, cryptocurrency, and the real estate market. And then I asked Warren, if you had to guess which stocks would see the largest increase as a direct result, what would those stocks be and why? And it dialed in, it knew exactly what I wanted, and it gave me an analysis of everything that would happen, assuming this hypothetical scenario actually happened. It gave me the sectors, it gave me specific companies, and it was really, really, really cool to see that. So we're almost out of time. One more thing that I want to quickly show you is in relation to the workstation and Warren AI. So Warren will know which instrument page that you're on. And so you don't even have to dial in or ask it specifically. You can just say, should I add this stock to my portfolio? And it'll know what stock you're talking about and ask you a whole bunch of other follow-up questions in order to help you work through this particular question that you have. See, it gives you the bull case, it gives you all the risks, technicals, analyst and market pulse, the bottom line. So essentially it says, if you're comfortable with a tech supplier that lives and dies by Cupertino's product roadmap, Cirrus is positioned for outperformance if those tailwinds persist. So one final thing, and that is that I believe we offer pro research on, I think it's almost 5,000 equities. So if you click through to these, and you can find these at the top of the page here and also inside ProPicks. Here, let me just show you where you can find it for ProPicks. Here, you have the pro research articles here inside the picks history. So essentially what you get is a deep dive onto this particular company. It has the executive summary. It highlights the important things for you, exceptional financial health. It gives you the valuations, the projections, the flow charts as to where the money's going in relation to the revenue that they've generated. Another thing that I really like are the bull case and the bear case as to why you should add the stock and why you should think about adding the stock, additional analyst takeaways, and of course, the SWOT analysis, the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So the pro research is just also a really great way for you to get a deep dive on any particular company, and it's in a PDF form, so you can, of course, just go ahead and share that with whomever you like. So that essentially wraps up our webinar for today. So let's just do a quick recap. Number one, do create alerts for economic, earnings, and dividend announcements. Number two, do follow authors and save articles for later. Create a watch list and see the fair value and health of your assets and personalize it by creating views. Use ProPicks AI, ideas, undervalued stocks, and the screener for idea generation. Use Warren AI and ProTips to speed up due diligence. And of course, even if you're an Investing Pro member, right now we're running a summer sale. So feel free to take advantage of up to almost 50% off of subscriptions. So go ahead and take advantage of that. So for example, if you're a monthly subscriber, you can get a discount on upgrading to a yearly subscription, or if you're a Pro subscriber, you can get a discount on upgrading to Pro Plus and have access to a lot more data. Great. So with the 5 minutes that we have left, I do want to address some of your questions. Cool. So I see that we have a question from Adeyinkaj. I hope I pronounced that right. And he says, hi, I just joined. Please, would this webinar be accessible in a few days? The answer is yes. I hope to send a webinar recording email or recording of this webinar to everyone, hopefully by tomorrow. Worst case scenario, it will be in your inbox by Sunday or Monday morning. And then Hami asks, how do you save the Warn AI earnings report to use in the future? It should automatically do that. Here, let me just bring that up again. So for example, let's just quickly jump to Warn AI. And you should be able to see this in your prompts on the left side over here. And then Hami asks additionally, how often are the Pro research reports updated? They're updated, if I'm not mistaken, I think once a month, or based on earnings calls. I'll have to get back to you because I don't want to misspeak, but I'm pretty sure that they're updated fairly regularly. Does anybody else have any more questions? I'd love to be able to answer them for you now instead of you guys waiting for our support team to get back to you. Why don't we go ahead and address them now? Cool. All right. That's it for me. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'll see you on the next webinar. Bye-bye now.